Hi, this is James from Tabletop Gaming Guild. Today we're going to take a look at this book. This book is the Mistborn adventure game RPG. It's going to be the world resource for the Skaa, and it's going to be called Skaa, Tin, and Ash. This is going to be the guide on how to play the best or run the best narrative on Skaa. So let's go ahead down the table. I'm going to give you a general idea what comes with this book, but know that there's a lot of spoilers in this book, so I'm just going to briefly say what you're going to get if you get this book, and then we'll come back and I'll give you my final thoughts. Okay, so we're going to look at a supplemental book for the Mistborn adventure game, which is the Mistborn RPG. This one is Skaa, Tin, and Ash. There's a lot of spoilers in here, so we're going to be a little vague. I'm just going to go over basically what you're going to get if you're going to pick up this book. So if you're going to pick up this book, it's put into two parts. One part I'm going to talk about, the second part I'm going to talk about in a little bit, but the first part of the book basically takes you through the life of a Skaa and everything that is in the society for Skaas. So this is going to have a short story, which is just 2 pages in the beginning of the book, and it goes through an introduction to talk about what's going to happen in the book and what it's about. And this is going to be the most important part. This one goes through the history of the Skaa, so you get a better idea of what the Skaa society came from and where they are currently. And again, if you've never read the Mistborn series, probably going to want to read the Mistborn series before you go through here, because this will spoil a lot of stuff. This is a really good book for the narrator, because the narrator will be able to flesh out the world better, especially when in the aspect of the Skaa. If you are a fan of the Brandon Sanderson Mistborn series and love the RPG, and you want to play the best Skaa possible, this book is definitely going to be what you're going to read. So basically here you're going to go through, it's called the Law of the Skaa, but this is basically going to be what the Skaa look like a snapshot of the culture. So population statistics, you're going to have appearance and psychology, you're going to have mindset, you're going to have Skaa leaders, which is not a whole lot of them, and you're going to have rights and legality, which they also have very little of, and you have beliefs. And the Lord Ruler is basically set himself up as their god, is the main point on here. There's another thing, but I'm not going to talk about it because it's in the book and it will spoil a little bit of the book. And you have your half Skaa, which is very common, which is half noble, half Skaa. And it's also why you really can't tell the difference between a Skaa and a noble, other than Skaa are generally like a little more hardy and shorter in general. Skaa allomancers, which can be very powerful. And this is Skaa in the different regions, dominuses. It's basically going to go over, like here, city Skaa. City Skaa, a lot of city Skaa either do hard labor or they will work for nobles inside their houses and be basically like butlers or cooks or whatever. But it basically goes into different occupations that you can have in there. There's some Skaa criminals, ones that are fed up with how they're treated and create criminal organizations. But not all those people are actually good for the Skaa culture. Some of them are just out for themselves. Some of them will help their own kind out and be sort of like a hero. Basically goes over the Skaa slums, the thieving crews that we were just talking about, basically what considered criminals, different slang from the Skaa, this plantation Skaa, so the ones that work out in the farms. The worst ones are the ones that are sent down to the mines. They generally die pretty quickly. Canal Skaa. So it just basically goes over your underground Skaa. So it goes over the different types of Skaa and what you can expect from that. Skaa rebellions, which most of them all of them, to the points of the book, end very horribly for the Skaa. Your Skaa beliefs. Don't want to show you too much in there. Basically, if you haven't read the Mistborn series, just know that the Lord Ruler is basically the religion, but there's another thing that crops up, and you should read the books before you get spoiled on that, because it's a big plot point. Some notable Skaa, so these are different Skaa hero or Skaa throughout in their culture. And basically, it's going to go through here and help either the narrator or a player learn to be a Skaa better. So we're going to go over and we're going to get to the second half of the book here. Okay. This Beast of Burden is really cool. It's going to be a 4 or 5 session campaign, and it's really pretty darn large section of the book here. It's basically half the book. And this is going to be great. I would suggest that the narrator is the only one that reads this way to make an outline basically for a very structured story. So if you're a first-time narrator, these are amazing resources and really well written. So this will put you through a whole 4 or 5 session campaign, depending on how fast or slow you go through stuff. And this is going to be Skaa oriented. So it's going to basically bring you more into the Skaa world. So that's what you're going to get with the Mistborn adventure game, Skaa Tin and Ash World Resource. So let's go ahead back up the table here and I'll give you my final thoughts on the book. So this book is amazing. If you like the Mistborn adventure game, this is a must get. This is an amazing compendium to the Mistborn RPG. It also has an amazing campaign in the back, which can go up to 4 to 5 sessions, and it's literally half this book. So especially if you're the narrator, if you're in the narrator and you're having a little bit of trouble thinking of like what you want to do immediately with this crew, you can use the campaign on here to give you a great outline for the story you want to tell with the other players. So that in itself is a really great resource for the RPG game. Also, if you're a fan of the Mistborn series, this book is amazing. It gives you more background on the Skaa. It gives the campaign on here is also a really fun read. It's really well written and it's really nice just to read it. So even if you're not even playing the RPG and you are a big fan of the Mistborn series by Brandon Sanderson, I would also highly recommend picking up this book. So the two groups would be the serious fans for the Mistborn series, highly recommend picking it up. The serious fans for the Mistborn RPG, also highly recommend picking this up. If you like the Mistborn RPG and you want some more depth in the RPG for the world itself, this is also a very good pick for you to get. There's another book called the Terrace one for the world building on that one. Rotten Copper, I believe. Same idea. But I really like this book. Really well written. Really well done. Highly recommend it. And that's my thoughts on the Skaa Tin and Ash world resource for the Mistborn adventure game. So real briefly, I just want to point out that Crafty Games has a lot in the Mistborn RPG series. They created it. So you can go to the mistbornrpg.com or craftygames.com and you can check these books out. They have free resources on there that you can use for the RPG, which are going to be different character sheets, different plot point sheets, all sorts of really cool resources. And you can see all the other products that come with the Mistborn adventure game. So I highly recommend checking out the mistbornrpg.com or Crafty Games will take you there too, craftygames.com. Thank you for watching.